Friends and comrades, today I come to wish you a very happy, healthy and happening new year. I also want to touch upon India's new year that is going to come. In particular, India's aspirations, potentials and the urge to become a world power should begin from next year. Why so? What strategic steps India should take towards becoming a world power? Next year is going to be a turning point for India's foreign policy because India will be holding positions of two presidentships, one of the G20, the other SCO. How it handles both the presidency, in particular the G20, will define India's image, acumen and status as a world power. The following strategic steps India should take towards that goal, and these steps are derived from the reflection the year gone by and pontificating on the year to come. The first preeminent sector that India should cautiously tread upon is the economy. These days, economy of any country is measure of its strength. India has been oftentimes compared with China. India was also expected to become the alternative manufacturing hub of the world and the skill capital of the world. But has it happened? Not really. Although we have surpassed Britain in terms of GDP to become the fifth largest economy of the world, on various other parameters, our progress is far from satisfactory. In particular, the investment that was to be diverted away from China has not come into India. It has gone to the other countries. And it is time that India should ponder over the deficits that deflected such investment. The second sector is the cultural and social one, which is the core strength of India. India has been known as a multicultural society. It is the biggest democracy, sheerly by dint of its size. But is it a vibrant, authentic democracy that other developing countries would like to emulate? The answer is simply no. Unfortunately, there has been a growing trend of disruption of communal harmony, violation of human rights, and preponderance of a trend of intolerance. In order to become a world power, we need to quickly make up these deficits so that India is known for its culture of synthesis, multiculturality, and a vibrant democracy. The above suggestions on economy and culture are premised on the hypothesis that a country's foreign policy is a reflection of its domestic environment, which in turn works as a determinant of its foreign policy. Our foreign policy, like any other countries, is contingent upon two interconnected variables. One is the promotion and pursuance of our national interest. Another is to play in our world affairs to our strength, to our intrinsic strength, which is our culture, which is our democracy, as I mentioned before. While two big powers, China plays to its newly acquired wealth and America plays on its military and economic strength, India has to use its social, civilizational and cultural capital in addition to its emerging economy. So these two sectors have to be taken on board while formulating our foreign policy. Now, in terms of concrete policies, the first area to focus is obviously the unfortunate development that happened this year in February. And I'm referring to the ongoing war in Ukraine. India has been painstakingly explaining its position on Ukrainian war, which is to world perception and rightly so tilted towards Soviet Union. India has done so to protect its national interest, and to be sure, a lot of our national interest is associated with Russia. But if we skip totally the international law, then we seem to endanger peace in the world. That is what very authentically articulated by the political philosopher Immanuel Kant. He said, if countries bypass the international law, they certainly make peace difficult in the world. India's reaction to the war consisted on two principles. One is the territorial sovereignty, other is the strategic autonomy. But in this case, India focused more on strategic autonomy than territorial sovereignty. That position needs to be corrected. As India aspires to be a world power, it is necessary to speak about a rule-based international order and respect for international laws. The second area to focus on is the presidency of G20. India took over the presidency by giving the slogan, one world, one family, one culture. That provides certainly the emotional glue derived from our cultural principle, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. But India needs to handle this presidency very carefully and deftly so that it projects its intrinsic strength and its image as a world power. And that strength lies in speaking for and promoting equitable development. The lopsided development so far, the divide between North and South has to be corrected. And that would come from projecting a variety of community practices in our country, development initiatives that has been taken in the social sector, championing the strategy of tri-sector partnership, a synergic partnership between state, market and civil society. And there are many other successful stories of development in our countryside that could be of immense help to developing and underdeveloped countries. The attitude towards China forms another important bedrock of our foreign policy. In fact, our response to Chinese actions should define India's image and capacity as a world power. And sadly, on reflection, our policy towards China has been incomplete, incomprehensive. It has been largely reactive, not proactive. This is time that India adopts a steady, comprehensive and a viable policy towards China with its goals defined, timeline fixed and costs calculated. In order to counter China, it is high time that India should bring the West, particularly United States, into equation. That is obvious choice that we have to make. And dealing with the United States, India is moving closer, but it is time that India should contemplate signing a security arrangement with the United States, a security and peace treaty with the United States. That will put brakes on Chinese aggressive intentions and Pakistan's malevolent designs on India. With European Union, both European Union and Union of India, they have perhaps missed the bus since European Union came into existence or began to form itself in 1957. And it is time that European Union should defocus its commerce and trade in international outlook, and India needs to focus more on its economy. That is how perhaps these two unions can come together, as they share amazing similarities in their respective politics and economy. Finally, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. That's a difficult area to really comment or suggest anything, because both Russia and China are members of this organization. Russia has been an invader. It has invaded Chechnya, Moldova, and now Ukraine. And China has territorial disputes with all its members. If SCO provides an opportunity for building a climate of confidence by interpersonal interactions during the meetings, so be it. But that does not seem to be happening. If India has to stay in SCO, then I think it should somehow include in the SCO charter that the members of SCO could not take unilateral and unlawful action against each other. If that is not there, there is hardly any point in being associated with SCO. Coming back to Ukraine, because the war is really creating havoc for the world economy, peace and security. There is a window of opportunity now at both countries, and both leaders, Zelensky as well as Putin, exasperated of the world, are looking for a way out and are inclined to negotiating a ceasefire or peace. Both of them have talked to our Prime Minister. Prime Minister has made his good offices available. I think more than that, our Prime Minister should leave no stone unturned in trying to broker a peace between these two countries at war. That would be a very big contribution to world peace, and that would lift India's world role into a new stage. These are some of the suggestions, but the foreign policy should be formulated by incorporating advice and opinions from various sectors. Not only it should be left to the South Bloc, that should be expanded catchment for inputs into our foreign policy making, so that we have a robust foreign policy which behoves a world power. Let us wish that necessary, prudent, and strategic steps are taken from next month and next year. Thank you.